When we're ready to start, I'm gonna put a thumbs up.
Oh, okay. All right. I see that people are coming in. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for participating today in WMATA Small Business Programs Office Outreach Certification Workshop presented by our very own Mr. Michael Bing. He is the SBPO analyst for WMATA, and we are so excited that he's going to be presenting this morning. Remember that at WMATA, we encourage all small businesses to get certified with WMATA. We have programs that you can be certified in, so please check out our website and learn more about our programs. We want you to be certified with us. We are definitely open for business and we want you to be a part of our contracting opportunities. We are your metro, the way forward. Make sure you put all questions in the chat and remember to fill out the surveys that will be sent to you after this outreach event. These surveys, they help us to plan events that can benefit or support the growth of your business. So please make sure that you send your survey in to us. Now, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce to you our presenter, Mr. Michael Bing. He is a key asset at WMATA in the Small Business Programs Office, where he serves as our business programs analyst. He is a highly experienced economic development practitioner and a small business growth strategist. Mr. Bing has more than 17 years of experience, resulting in a body of knowledge in community development, capital access, and business growth strategies. Before joining WMATA, Michael was a small business development manager at the Department of Small and Local Business Development, where in less than a year at the DSLBD, he developed a loan loss reserve program. Let me repeat that. He developed a loan loss reserve program that averaged over 200,000 into 1.3 million in small business loans for the DC-based businesses. Now that's an applause right there, guys. Prior to joining with the DSLBD, Mr. Bing was the director of the Washington, D.C. MBDA Business Center, a cooperative agreement with the Department of Commerce's Minority Business Development Agency. His efforts there led to securing over 178 million in contracts, which resulted in creating 222 jobs, as well as assisting clients in securing 1.3 billion contracts and 12 million in financing. Now you see why we are glad to have Michael with us. So I really hope that you enjoy his presentation today. Everybody's been looking forward to this, and at this time I am going to hand it over to Michael.
Michelle, you're too kind. I haven't heard my bio in so long, I forgot what I had done. But today we're going to focus everything on certification because we understand that certification are the keys to opportunities for many small businesses. And what does that look like in today's landscape? But first and foremost, for every presentation that we do at WMATA, we like to start with a safety contact. My safety contact for today is keep your areas tidy. Maintain a clean and organized workspace to reduce risk of accidents. Now on to the certification portion. Today, we are going to learn the purpose and objectives of federal and non-federal certifications, the 5 different certifications of WMATA, how to prepare for and complete the certification process, tips on how to do business with us, as well as we'll get into Q&A. WMATA, the Washington Area Metropolitan Transit Authority, our certification programs. Many of you are aware of the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program, the DBE program. Some of you are even aware of the Small Business Enterprise Program. Both of those are federally funded or federally mandated by 49 CFR Part 26 et al. And that covers all of the DBE program. Specifically under 492639, it'll get into the small business element that covers the Small Business Enterprise Program. And you'll learn more about both of those programs coming up. The other three programs that are non-federal certifications are the Minority Business Enterprise Program, Small Business Program, and the Micro Business Program. Programs such as these will always have oversight committees. So at WMATA, we have two different oversight committees. For the DBE and SBE program, we have the District of Columbia Unified Certification Program. Many times you'll see DCUCP if you receive email correspondence from us. So both the District Department of Transportation and WMATA are both under the DCUCP. And those programs and that oversight is oversight for the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program and the Small Business Enterprise Program. Now, the other three programs that WMATA has, the oversight committee is called the WMATA Certification Oversight Committee because those are WMATA-based certifications for locally funded opportunities. And that's the MBE, the SBP, and the MBP. Why do we create these programs? I think that everything should start off with why are we doing this? And at WMATA, the board in 2021, they decided that they wanted to replace the Small Business Local Preference Program with a broader Women and Minority Business Enterprise Center program for all non-federally funded procurement activities in an effort to increase and maximize the prime and subcontracting activity, increase the pool of certified firms, and create new contracting opportunities and relationships for small businesses. That's why we created the MBE program. The MBE program is race conscious, but we have a race neutral program, which race and gender neutral, which are the small business program and micro business program, both of which have set aside components built in. So in an effort for us to grow the businesses within the DMV through contracting opportunities. Now for the DBE program. The Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program, you have to be a for-profit business owned and controlled by 51% owned and controlled by an individual that's socially and economically disadvantaged. The owner's personal net worth must be equal or less than 2.047 million. And the firm and its affiliates' gross receipts cannot exceed on a 3-year average 31.84 million. And when it comes down to the SBA under 13 CFR 121.104, that gets into the NAICS codes, which is a North American Industrial Classification codes. And those are based on the size, whether it's revenue or employee size of a business, that will tell you whether you can qualify or you've outgrown those NAICS codes. So we go through an assessment of that as well. Small business, still onto the federal certifications. The Small Business Enterprise Program is also federal, and it also requires you to be a nonprofit business, has the same criteria as the DBE program, with the exception that it's race and gender neutral. So you do not have to be or justify your disadvantage, economic or social disadvantage, to be a small business enterprise. You just have to meet the rest of the criteria. The WMATA certification programs, the MBE, SBP, and MBP, the Minority Business Enterprise Program, it's a mirror program of the DBE program, with the exception that it has a 2-year certification period, and after 2 years you have to become recertified again. For the for the SBP program and the MBP program, you're not required to be located in the DMV. You are required to be located in the DMV. So only companies located in Maryland, DC, or Virginia can qualify for our MBP, our SBP program and MBP. To be a small business program, your 3-year average receipts have to be less than or equal to 10 million, and your employee size has to be less than or equal to 50 employees. But the benefit of this program is that we have a mandatory set aside for all contracts that are at least $50,000 and up to $250,000. We want those to be the priority. If there are 2 company or 3 companies that actually are qualified in that NAICS code, we set those aside for those opportunities to go to those small business program certified firms. And that can actually go up to $1 million based on the scope of that particular opportunity. For the micro business program, similar to the SBP, this is also race and gender neutral. This program is meant to target the very small businesses for prime contracting opportunities. So a firm that's gross receipts are equal to or less than 3 million, employee size is equal to or less than 25 employees, any contracts, and a lot of times these are purchase card opportunities, but any contracts that are less than $50,000 and there's at least 3 certified MBPs, we set those aside for micro business program certified firms. Eligibility summary. You have to be located in the in the DMV to be eligible for our MBP, SBP, and MBP programs. For the DBE and MBE, you do not have to be located in the in the DMV. For out-of-state firms, same criteria as mentioned. And all DMV firms are potentially eligible for WMATA certification, depending on the revenue and employee size. If you'd like to take a moment and scan the QR code, it'll take you to the certification application, the uniform certification application for the DBE and SBE program. This workshop is meant that if an individual wanted to go through it, or maybe they've already started going through the application process, I'm going to be going through it step by step. So feel free to put your questions in the chat, and then we may take a brief pause and answer some of those. But this is meant that we can walk you through the process and get you certified, because we do understand, we understand that if you are certified, we can put you one step closer to an opportunity to grow with us at WMATA. So how to apply? There's a one-step application for the DBE and one step for the MBE, SBP, and MBP applications. Complete the application. You have to set up your profile in the supplier portal. Once you go on there, the supplier portal is pretty easy. You'll fill out your information. You'll set up your user ID and your password, and you can go ahead and start the process right there in the portal. This is the address of the portal, supplier.wmata.com. It's going to look like this when you come to the site. When you first start, you would go to new supplier registration or register, and that right there will take you to where you need to go to fill out that information I just mentioned on the last slide. The first screen will look like this. It will say navigate DBE, SBE, MBE certification page. What the part I would really want to emphasize is that you're going to see add new value. Add new value is the equivalent of start an application. Once you select the add new value tab, it will take you to this screen where you can begin to put your information in. You put your demographic information, your gender information, your address and contacts. Begin to compile all that information, put all that in. This is all pretty self-explanatory. You would just input all that information. Revenues, employee size, last 3 years. All this allows the system to determine whether you qualify or don't qualify for some programs. So in essence, if like, as I mentioned before, if you were to put in your 3 years revenue, and let's say that you were above 5 million for those 3 years, you wouldn't qualify for the MVP program, because as you remember, if you recall earlier, I mentioned that an SBP has to be less than, equal to, or less than 3 million, and equal to and less than 25 employees. So depending on what information that you input, it's going to determine which applications you can and cannot apply for. This information is just, it's basic. You put in your year, the current year, put in your gross receipts, employee size. Eligibility guide will help you if you need further help. These questions right here are going to get through, the basic ones that I mentioned earlier. I said that in order to be in any of the programs, you have to be a for-profit business. If you were to select no, then you would know you wouldn't be able to proceed. Is your business 51% owned and operated by socially and economically disadvantaged? If you put no, it would let you proceed. So these questions, self-explanatory. You can go through those and move on to the next step. Once you get to this section, this is the section where I believe we have the most calls or inquiries on how to move forward. When you come here, there's going to be a drop down on step 3E, the document type. It may say DBE, it may say tax returns. There's like a whole lot of different entries that you can use. You would put in the description of what you put in, go to attach. It'll put up there'll be a box, and I think it may even be on the next screen. Yep. So it'll look like this. You hit browse, find your document on your computer, upload, and once you upload that document, the attached file, it'll show right there. And when you want to move on to attaching another document, you would go to the plus sign underneath the last right there, and that would add another row. These are the documents that you have to apply. So there's one that was added recently as a result of the interim final rule that came out in October of 2025, and that is the need for a personal narrative. Outside of that, the other documents are the same as they always were. Resumes, personal net worth statement, 3 years personal tax returns, documented proof of contributions used to acquire ownership. Some of these documents you may not have, and if that is the case, then I recommend that you upload a document on your letterhead that states the documents that you do not have, because you very well might not have any real estate for your business. There may not be, you might be the only employee, and you can put that down on a document. So when it says list of all employees, it might just be you. When it comes down to documented proof of contributions used for ownership, that's based on maybe if you're working for a business and there's an opportunity to purchase it, then it would be, you would have that contribution. In normal sense, it would more than likely just be a document, maybe a deposited check, proof of deposited check for your basic business license, and articles of organization or articles of incorporation that you may have. Those startup documents are what you would be listing proof of ownership on. Now we'll get into, and another one is the bank authorization signatory cards. You may actually just get a letter from your bank, because a lot of banks aren't giving signatory cards anymore. So now I bolded number 3, personal narrative, because we want to cover that briefly, high level, just so you get an understanding of what is the requirement on a personal narrative. So a personal narrative, to satisfy the social and economic disadvantage requirement, certifiers, us, we are required to ensure all determinations of disadvantage are not based in whole or in part on race or sex. Prior to this interim final rule, there was a presumed disadvantaged individual. There's no longer a presumed disadvantaged individual. You have to prove your disadvantage through a personal narrative so that we can make a determination based on your personal disadvantage that you've encountered, whether it's economic, it's economic and social, but it cannot be based in whole or in part on race or sex. The personal narrative must describe specific instances of economic hardship, systematic barriers, and denied opportunities that impeded progress or success in education, employment, or business, including obtaining financing on terms to similarly situated non-disadvantaged persons. Once again, the personal narrative cannot mention race and or gender as the basis of economic hardship, systematic barriers, and denied opportunities. The personal narrative must state how and to what extent the impediments cause economic harm, including a full description of the type and magnitude, and must establish the owner is economically disadvantaged, in fact, relative to similarly situated non-disadvantaged individuals. What does that mean? That is the law. That is what we have to adhere to. But how do we make that make sense? So if you look at the structure, the incident, whether it was economic hardship, systematic barriers, or denied opportunities that I experienced, personally experienced, non-presumptive disadvantage, I personally experienced this situation, this incident, I personally experienced this incident, whether it was economic hardship, a systematic barrier, or denied opportunity, and it impeded on my education, employment, or business. Example is, in May 2019, I was pursuing a subcontracting opportunity in Arlington, Virginia. There's more details, of course. This would be like a quick recap of bullets of it. My small business had the capabilities, we had the quals, but the procurement manager at the prime, despite my qualifications, chose to work with only vendors they already knew. I lost my chance to participate in a contract that would have brought in approximately $180,000 in revenue. Now, of course, this is going to be personal to you and it's going to be fleshed out more and there's going to be more information involved in it. But that's basically the incident I experienced and impeded on my. The incident I experienced was a denied opportunity. I personally experienced this denied opportunity. That resulted in a potential loss of $180,000. It impacted my business. That is the structure and the basis of what we have to do for the personal narrative. I wonder if I should pause there. Should I pause there and answer a couple questions? Marlo, are there any questions in the chat?
There are, but I've been addressing them. You
Okay,
can
perfect.
continue.
All right. Steps 11 and 12. To upload additional documents, click that. We mentioned that. And that was on the screen before when I said it was below the last. Click that. It'll give you additional rows. You can put additional comments in. That's really the end of the procedure. After you've done with that, and you would just hit let me get to that. You would hit this button that says submit application to WMATA and you'll be done. Or if you hit save draft, it'll save all your documents because maybe you have to collect some more. Hit save draft and get back to it, get back in there and upload those documents. After you hit submit application, one of us will reach out to you, I would say within 24 hours, maybe 48, to just let you know we received your information. We'll assess it and determine if there's anything missing, and we'll begin the process of going through your application for approval or denial, depending on what that means. WMATA's accounts payable division, you will need to fill out your your W-9 assigned and put it in there. That's important, especially if you actually get a contract with WMATA for payment purposes. What happens next? If approved, a certification letter is emailed to the business on record, and you'll be added to the DC Unified Certification Programs Directory. It gives you instant exposure to potential prime contracting opportunities. Whether you're a small business program, micro business program, and DBE and SBE, subcontracting opportunities, matching your business expertise. We have an event called Meet the Primes that we have at least twice a year. It's always filled to capacity, and it's when we bring a number of prime contractors that WMATA is currently working with that are looking for subcontractors for opportunities. They do want to see that you're certified and that you have the qualifications. And also an allowance for informal hearing. If you are denied, we allow for that, and you may reapply. I believe it's in 12 months from receiving a denial, you can reapply for certification. What are your responsibilities? To remain in good standing with Metro, keep your contact information updated. There are times when contracting officer may reach out to us and say, do you have any firms that do window cleaning? And we go through the database and we're like, we have to have a couple, and maybe there'll be 3 or 4. And out of those 3 or 4, 2 of them may not have updated contact information. So a procurement like that, they may have lost an opportunity on. So if you think about procurement, there are opportunities that are full and open, and you'll see those on our website on the solicitation page. But there are opportunities where there may be a small acquisition or simplified acquisition, and they want to go a different route. Maybe they want to get a handful of DBEs, SBEs, MBPs, SBPs, whatever that certification is. You just want to get maybe 10, and they want to send that opportunity to them. You have to have your updated contact information, or when those opportunities happen, you will not be notified. You also want to respond promptly to surveys, meeting requests, any information that we may require or request from you. You want to respond as promptly as possible. And you also have to notify Metro of any material changes in your business with the notice regarding change form. A material change might be you went from a 51% owner to a 50% owner of your business. That is a material change because now there's someone who has equal rights to control the business than you. And if that individual is a non-disadvantaged individual, then your business may not qualify to be a DBE any longer. So it is important that any material changes that you notify us of those changes. Maintain documentation for sufficient proof of eligibility. Do not engage in dishonest or fraudulent behavior. If that happens, you will be barred from opportunities at WMATA, or potentially barred. Participate in our trainings. I mentioned one of those, the Meet the Primes. This is also a training, so I applaud you all who attended today. Hopefully this training is helpful for you. And ask assistance if you need it. We are here. We respond within. Make every attempt to respond within 24 hours to all of your requests. But we are here for you to help you and to get you to where you would like to be within your business. But every certification will have either an annual recertification, or in the sense of the MBE, SBP and MBP, those are only 2-year certifications. So every 2 years you have to recertify. So for the annual recertification for the DBE program, you only have to upload your proof of gross receipts, which is your more than likely your corporate tax return, and the declaration of eligibility, which is a 1-page document, really, that you're just attesting that you are still whether you're a woman or as your or whatever, whatever gender or whatever um, uh, racial class you may fall in, that's really what you're attesting to. For your interstate certification, there are 4 documents that you need to upload. For the interstate, you have to upload your declaration of eligibility, a cover letter, really just states like all the different places where you're certified, and letter from your jurisdiction of original certification, which is uh, the place where you were initially certified, whether it's Maryland or Virginia or whatever state it may be. And that's based on an interim final rule 26.11 A4. Tips for success. I would recommend that you look at our supplier portal at least once a week. If you have more time and you want to maybe look at it on a Monday and also look at it on a Friday, that's also a good idea. Looking for active solicitation opportunities. You can also look at some of our solicitations that were already awarded maybe a few years ago. If you think about most solicitations are 5 years, a base and 4 option years. So maybe you're looking at an opportunity that was that was awarded 4 years ago. That contracting officer listed on it may still be the same person. You may be able to reach out to them and actually inquire to say, are you going to be rebidding this next year? And if so, I'd love to, let you know what we do, because you can have those informal conversations when there's when it's outside of an active solicitation. If it's an active solicitation, you're not able to have those conversations. And if you need any information, ask for it. SBPO hotline at WMATA.com. Any questions?
If you have any additional questions, you can put them in the chat for Michael to respond.
Now, anyone who's starting their application, maybe today, maybe it's one of their things they want to start soon, we are going to have an in-person procurement fair. Shanae or Marlo could probably put that in if it's not already on the next slide, put that in the chat. And I think practically all of our procurement personnel are going to be there. And, we're going to have a certification workshop there. Feel free to bring your laptop and let's work through it and try to get you certified on the spot if possible. We'll be able to help you in other ways, but we are always trying to create ways. How do we get closer to you so you can get closer to your goals? Some of the opportunities that I mentioned, if you scan that QR code, it'll get you to our up and coming outreach. We have one plateau to profit, diversifying revenue streams. That's going to be on February 17th from 10 to noon. Meet the
Michael, there's a
primes.
question in the chat.
Okay.
After submitting all documents, how long does it take WMATA to review and make the decision?
So a complete package, it can take up to 90 days, and that's per the 49 CFR, Part 26. It allows us up to 90 days to make a decision. It typically only takes us for a complete package, I would say about 30 to 45 days, depending on how extensive the package is. I mean, I've had some that have had maybe like 5 or 6 other businesses, and they're trying to make one of them a DBE. It takes a lot longer to go through a comprehensive one. Like if it's a startup that's wants to become a DBE, like 3 weeks after they start their business, that doesn't take long at all because there's less to look at. It all depends on the complexity of the case. But I would say on average about 45 days, we can get you certified. Now, if it happens to be an interstate, like if you're, let's just say you're already a certified, no, let's say that you're already certified in Maryland. I don't know if that's a good example because all of us have really be going through different stages through the IFR process to start receiving the personal narratives. But depending on where that place is, like Georgia, Georgia is already reevaluating and recertifying their firms. So we received a letter from one of them saying that they want to become a DBE and an SBE through the DCUCP. Through that process of an interstate, we only have 10 days to certify firms. So it's a lot faster if you're already certified somewhere else. But if you're going through us as being your jurisdiction of original certification, uh, 45 days, we're done. So the flyer up there, please everyone scan that and apply or to show up at the Meet the Primes. Meet the Primes is exceptional. Like literally our primes bring their whole teams. They bring their estimators, their program managers, high level, they bring everyone there because they really do want to meet new subcontractors for opportunities. And if you have those opportunity, have the qualifications, there's a strong chance that you can enroll into their pipeline of potential subcontractors and have a potential opportunity to work. Looks like we've
There's
come
one
to the,
question in it. There's another question in the chat. Can we provide the QR code website link? Natasha, can you elaborate on that? For which event? There's another question. Does the March 12 Prime event focus mainly on construction, or are there consulting services opportunity being represented? For the Meet the Prime, do you have to be certified? No. The construction, the Meet the Prime. Shay, can you answer that one for the Meet the Prime? Is it construction or consulting?
It is construction focused.
That's
So,
construction.
and I'll
There's no
actually
additional
click
questions in
to
the chat, Michael.
and I'll click to the next slide so you all can know who Marlo was talking about when she said Shay. She is our outreach marketing analyst at the Small Business Programs Office, and she's the one you'll receive emails from about educational opportunities, business engagement opportunities, things of that nature. She's always trying to identify opportunities for you to learn and to grow and to have access to the metro's opportunities to meet with primes and the such. Also listed there is our director, Michelle Howard, our manager, Marlo Johnson, myself, Michael Bing, Alicia Fredericks. Both of us are small business analysts, and Shanae, as I mentioned, the outreach marketing analyst. There's also a whole team behind us, but these are our details. Please reach out to us. The SBPO hotline at WMATA.com is probably the best place to email, because from there it can be sorted to who would be the best person to take on your need. And that comes to the conclusion of the workshop.
Well, you
Please
know what?
feel,
Let me tell you something. This has been an excellent workshop. So, Michael, I know you know already that you're gonna have to do this again, right? The good
yeah.
feedback, the good questions and things that we got in the chat. businesses, please know we will take all of the questions from the chat. We will elaborate on them, as much as we can and get them sent back out to you for your attendance today. We really appreciate you being here. Yes, we will ask Michael if he will do this for us again. So I want to thank him for giving this today. I also want to thank the Small Business Programs Office Certification, Business Development, and Outreach team. We have Marlo, we have Michael, we have Alicia, Shanae. We also have our support in Heather, Sierra, and Shalonda. These are the folks who works behind the scenes to help us to put these things on, help us to keep your applications and things moving. So we got a whole team that's working for you behind the scenes. We do look forward to seeing you at our next virtual outreach, which will be on the 17th. Lisa Anderson will be doing Beyond the Plateau, and that's diversifying revenue streams to build a resilient business. Please tune in with us for that. And in March, we definitely want to see you in the place. Okay, March the 12th, we want to see you at Meet the Primes. You will be happy that you came. You can best believe that. As Michael said, you get to see, they bring the whole gamut in with them. Sometimes they get business done with you on the spot while there. It has been very successful for us. So make sure you register and you sign up for the Meet the Primes in person on March the 12th. Thank you all again for coming out. Thank you for supporting your business by showing up, because that's signs that you support what you're trying to do by showing up, by asking the questions and getting the information. Thank you to my amazing team, and we will see you in the next one. Take care.